What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Triple H podcast, Happy Hour Hoops, presented by Win Streaks. Everyone, go download the Win Streaks app. Pick your favorite teams to win. Start accumulating points, and then you can win cash prizes. The Win Streaks app is 100% free, guys. It's so easy. You can pick all of your favorite teams from across all sports. NFL, if you want to pick on the Super Bowl, NHL, college basketball is in the thick of it, NBA, obviously that's our favorite. 100 players win cash prizes every week up to $2,000. And the contest runs every week from Monday to Sunday. Once again, I want to reiterate this, guys. It's 100% free to play. So you're literally doing yourself a disservice by not having the WinStreaks app. If you think you know how to pick winners, because you pick those games, accumulate points, and win the cash prizes. Use our code HHH when you sign up in the referral code spot and download the WinStreaks app, guys. It's very easy. If you don't have it by now, not really sure what you are doing. We have a loaded show today. Some good stuff, some bad stuff, some crazy stuff that we're going to cover, but we're going to talk about it all. How we doing, Jake and Steve?
We're doing good, man. We're doing real good. I want to give a shout out to Woj because we got breaking news again before the show started. So it's back-to-back Wednesdays. It's back-to-back Wednesdays that we have actually gotten news before we finished recording. I'm doing great, man. It's been a nice little stretch of games for the Mavs. I'm enjoying watching them. We had the Luka game, which we'll talk about later. Obviously. Luka and the Mavs had a nice little comeback win too earlier this week. So it's been a nice stretch for the Mavs. We're not going to talk about what the Mavs are doing tonight against the Timberwolves. They're playing the backups. That's besides the point. But I'm doing good. Enjoying some basketball, college basketball, really getting in the gear. And like I said, shout out Woj. We got breaking news, guys. We got breaking news. Out Happy Hour Hoops before we're done recording.
Jake, you must be a little excited too. You're getting Garland and Mobley back for the first time in a while. About almost 2 months.
Yep, Mobley came back Monday. Garland tonight. They beat the Clippers Monday. Beat the Bucks on Friday. It's been a good couple weeks. I'm still withholding all excitement about the Cleveland Cavaliers until at least the March 30th. There's no 31st in March, is there? I don't know. Whatever the last day in March is, that's when I will start being excited about the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I am optimistic about seeing Darius Garland come back. Who knows? He apparently lost a bunch of weight. Obviously, like you break your jaw, like you can't eat solid food for a while and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see like what he looks like and how much it's going to take him to get back in the swing of things. But hey, the Cavs have been rolling. Things are good right now. January Eastern Conference champions, maybe. The Cleveland Cavaliers had a great record. That doesn't mean anything, though. So that's where I'm at with the Cavs.
That's a good spot to be, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that. I think just the allure of Garland coming back is enough to get reinvested halfway through the season here. But yeah, I was reading up on that a little bit too. He had his mouth wired shut during all of this. And couldn't eat, so he's working on getting his weight up, like Jake was saying. I'm sure he's gonna have to get his legs under him. You mentioned Mobley is back already, and the Cavs are looking good, man. I'll tell you what, I'm liking how much they've been beating up on the Bucks this season. That much I can say for sure. But Steve mentioned it at the top. We had breaking news, thankfully, to Woj before the show started. It's usually quite the opposite. It's about a half hour after we get off usually. And it's about a guy we're going to talk about anyway. Joel Embiid, unfortunately, is out for Thursday's game. So tomorrow night's game, if you're watching live against the Utah Jazz, and will receive further evaluation on his left knee. And this is just a lot of messy stuff involved in the Embiid situation because, of course, he got all the criticism about having not played the last 5 years in Denver. And people are saying he's shying away from Jokic, whatever the case may be. It's just the fact that he hasn't played in Denver since 2019. people are saying now that he sort of rushed himself back so he could avoid the critics and avoid people calling him soft or whatever it may be. And then he re-injures himself last night in the game, now has to get that knee reevaluated. So, I mean, all things in play here, right? He now has 4 games left that he can miss. It's not looking great for Embiid's MVP chances. And then if you're a Sixers fan, you probably don't even give a shit about the MVP.
No.
You're like, our big man.
And Embiid doesn't either.
And it's not looking good.
Embiid doesn't care either, right?
Because he might be muted, unless I just can't hear you.
Am I muted?
No, I can hear you.
All right.
Well, maybe I can't hear either of you guys.
Oh no, Duddy. But what I was saying is Embiid, like, he doesn't even like care about the MVP. What he said, he wants to be in the best health possible for the playoffs. And you look at Embiid right now, and if you watched any of that Sixers Warriors game, I don't know if you did, Jake, and hopefully Dunny can hear me, but I don't know if you did. But that was, I mean, it was crazy. He was clearly struggling throughout that whole game. He looked hurt. He left the game at one point early. I think it was in the first quarter or second quarter. Went to the locker room, came back, started playing again. It just looked like a shell of himself. He was falling on the floor constantly. I think he only finished with like 14 points. Like, his jump shot was clearly off. He wasn't getting like anything on it. And it's one of those things. It's like it's crazy if the criticism is the way that forced him back to playing early, because Embiid has clearly stated, and the Sixers have stated, that they don't care about the MVP. It's his health coming into the postseason, and we talked about it earlier that this Sixers team kind of looks like a team that is best geared towards the postseason of any of the Embiid Sixers teams we've had. And now to see that he's having a setback, he's getting reevaluated. You know, obviously, Sixers fans are thinking worst case scenario right now. Hopefully, it's just him resting, a few games. I think the MVP is out of the question at this point. There's no chance Embiid doesn't miss more than 4 games the rest of the way. I really don't see that happening, especially with the way I think the Sixers are going to treat him when he does come back. But the big thing for me here, too, is you got to look at the Sixers' team success, right? The Cavs are playing great basketball right now. The Knicks, who we'll get to later, are playing out of their minds. I don't know if anyone is taking out the Celtics in a 7-game series the way they look. Milwaukee has been getting better as the year has been going on. Obviously, they had the coach switch, but they're looking better as the year's gone on. And you have this Philadelphia 76ers team that started off so great. It looks like they can compete with any of these teams. They're 3-9 without Embiid. Tyrese Maxey, every time he tries to play without Embiid, doesn't know what to do when he's the main guy there. The only guy who really's been stepping up is Tobias Harris, the grizzled vet for the Sixers, who I still think is one of the most underrated players in the NBA. No one mentions his name, but he just always shows up. But this team, I mean, you can't fall. You cannot slip in the East right now, because if the Sixers fall out of the top 4, right, I don't want to play any of those teams in a 7-game series on the road. Obviously, Jake's going to argue maybe the Cavs, right? 4 or 5 Sixers Cavs matchup would be probably. But honestly, like, you look at it, the way that these teams are playing, how far are the Sixers going to slip, right? They're the 5 seed already. Indiana is 3 games back, but we haven't really seen Indiana full strength since the Siakam trade. We saw a little bit with Halliburton that one game. But who knows what the Sixers could slip to? Obviously, Miami's had struggles of their own, but I'll never count.
I was going to say, Miami's doing Philly some favors right now.
Yeah, exactly.
On a 7-game losing streak.
I'll never count Miami out, but if Embiid's out for a little bit of time and we're looking at the Sixers falling to the 7, possibly the 8, there's no chance they want to face Milwaukee or Boston in the first round on the road. And so this is tough for both camps, right? Yeah, obviously you want to see Embiid as a player. He's been having one of the most dominant seasons we've seen in a long time. And it was to the point where people are like, is he the best player in the NBA right now? But his health is the number one priority. And the Sixers, they don't care about the MVP. Embiid doesn't care about the MVP. They care about him being healthy for the playoffs. Because I'll tell you what, guys, if Embiid's hurt or if something, derails like their playoffs a little bit with an Embiid injury, or if this is serious, or if it's just something that just kind of lurks the entire rest of the season, what do you do if you're the Sixers at that point, right? How many more options do you really have? So it's tough, because it feels like when it rains, it pours for Philly. And it's just like, all these teams in the East are starting to play really good basketball, and their superstar MVP player, who knows what's going to happen right now. He didn't look – like I said, I don't know if you watched the game, Dunny. I asked Jake. The Warriors-Sixers game, I mean, he looked like a shell of himself. And you could tell he was clearly in pain the entire time. I don't know why he was playing in that game. But this is honestly doomsday scenario for Philly. Because the East is getting better, and your MVP's hurt, and you have not played well when he's been hurt. It's not a good combo.
Well, that's where I'm at. Like, the severity of the injury is the most important thing, and that getting reevaluated, a second opinion again does not.
Those words.
It makes it.
Those
it
words
makes me
scare
feel
me.
Exactly, because whenever I hear reevaluated for an NBA player, it means the first news was bad, and they need to confirm or deny whatever that first news is. Yeah. And like you said, I didn't see the whole game. I saw the highlights afterwards and everything, and he looked hampered, and it didn't look like a guy who's going to come back in a week or 2 weeks. And the thing is, like, Embiid's injury history, we know it. It's well documented that the guy has had trouble with injuries throughout his entire NBA, like literally since the beginning of his NBA career. So it's unfortunate, and especially at the pace that he was at. We're a larger discussion we're going to have at some point is about this 65-game rule and what it has done to players at this point, pushing through injuries, like a Halliburton who almost re-injured. Luckily, he's back, but re-injured his thing. I'm sure that was on his mind, trying to get all NBA and trying to get that Supermax contract to get to the 65 games. And just a larger conversation on where I'm at with this schedule is way too damn long. A, for player safety, and B, for general fan interest when it wanes in and out throughout the year, and you have people are like, I'm not watching X month basketball or whatever. It's tough, and I think that those are two major reasons, like waning interest in a regular season and players who can't make it. Like, none of these players want to. What player wants to play 82 games except because they get called soft? Like, that's literally the only reason. It doesn't benefit
Mikal
them.
Bridges. That's about the only one I can think
exactly.
of.
It doesn't benefit them, and it doesn't benefit the league for them to be injured all year playing or fighting through injury or skipping these games. And, there was a lot of conjecture about the Embiid missing on Saturday in Denver. And that's fair because we've seen situations where guys have just sat out before these national TV games. This was like the first Saturday without football, national TV, triple header, like everybody
rivalry week. Rivalry
exactly.
week is what they called it. Yeah.
Exactly. They bumped it. They promoted that huge for a while. And so I understood the reaction, whether it was warranted or not. Now that we see how injury was, I think that's a microcosm of the situation that the NBA has done to themselves by having these players play too long of a season and be injured, and the rest and the whole thing. Like, we've been talking about load management for how long now? Like, really, Kawhi, I guess, was the first person. We're on like year 5, year 6 of having this discussion, and they have not found a good solution. In fact, their solution was you have to play this many games, and now it's putting hurt players onto the floor ahead of when they should be. So clearly that was not the right solution, and they got to figure some shit out because it might not be a huge issue right now, but it could snowball into a bigger issue in years to come.
Yeah, and like Philly would argue that it is a huge issue right now.
Yeah,
so.
That's true.
And I don't know if that's fair because I don't think, all the things going on with Embiid are him trying to be eligible for the awards at the end of the season. But it's still something to think about, and it's definitely something that raises an eyebrow. And if that wasn't implemented before this season, would they be handling this differently? Probably, at least a little bit. So it just sucks, man. It sucks for Embiid. It sucks for Sixers fans, and it sucks for players who find themselves worried or in a situation where they do rush themselves back, like Halliburton, like you mentioned, Jake. Someone else who's injured here, Julius Randle, out a few weeks was the report with a right shoulder dislocation. We're going to talk more about the Knicks at large later on in the episode, but it's tough. I don't think it sounded more serious at first. I think when they first reported that he was injured, it seems the few weeks was actually a little more easing to the fans to hear that, because I think the initial report was he might miss a few months with this injury. So to hear a few weeks with Julius Randle, I think that's pretty good if you're the hottest team in the NBA, the New York Knicks. So they need their guy Randall.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because they just keep on winning, right? 8 straight wins now. I mean, you thought the Randall would slow it down a little bit, and Brunson has just stepped up. You thought, and then I will talk about him in length later, but I talked about the importance of OG Anunoby, and the casual fan doesn't really realize how important he is to a team. He missed the game last night too, and it didn't matter. These other guys are stepping up. I think Dante DiVincenzo had 32 points or something.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson's looking like a true superstar. And like I said, I don't want to talk about too much because we'll talk about the Knicks later. But it's crazy that that's just kind of the New York Knicks mindset, next man up, and it's just. Everything's changed for the Knicks in this month and a half. I mean, a complete 180 from where I thought the Knicks were going to be till now, and that trade has obviously helped big time. But JBC, call me a casual. JBC out here saying Kobe White probably should be first team All NBA. But regardless, the New York Knicks, it's like they just keep. Guys who just keep stepping up. They've been dealing with injuries all year long, it feels like. And then obviously you have the trade, and now you lose Randall. It just doesn't seem to phase them right now. It's crazy the hot streak they're on. But hope for the best for Randall to come back quickly. And I'll be honest with you guys, the Knicks, very good chance they can push Milwaukee for that 2 seed.
Yeah,
the way they've been playing.
I mean, yeah,
very good chance.
It's the middle, a little bit past halfway point in the season, and they are just absolutely rolling right now. I mean, you mentioned it; they didn't need a full roster last night, and it is kind of some of these other guys who are just stepping up out of nowhere. We keep teasing it. We'll get to the Knicks, but more in the news. We got more bullshit with the refs. Would you believe that?
In a win too.
Yeah. Would we believe that in 2024 that there's still ref issues going on? Anthony Edwards had his own run-in with the NBA referees, the NBA officials. He called them cheating ass refs. He to his point, and to be fair to Anthony Edwards, he did say he knew he was going to get fined for what he said. He in fact did get fined. He got $40,000 slap on the wrist for Anthony Edwards. Yeah, he knew it. He knew it was coming his way. He said it was like they were playing 8-on-5 against the Thunder. Called them cheating ass refs. And I mean, I know he was mad about plenty of calls, but there's a clear visual still image of him dunking the ball with the Thunder's player's hand wrapped around his forearm as he's trying to dunk it, and it wasn't called a foul. It was actually reviewed by the league, and they said it was marginal contact, not constituted as a foul. So I mean, yeah, here we are.
But then if you see today the Steph video going around, because Ryan Russillo calls it out on Twitter, and it's like, what are you supposed to do? And the league has a full quote for that, and it's like, actually, this is a legal guarding position and all this other stuff. It's like, what are we doing here, bro?
Yeah. Now we're just bending the rules.
Calling here?
We're bending the rules to save the referee's image, it feels like.
We really are. I like that Anthony Edwards didn't hold back too, and it was funny too because it was one of those, everyone saw it because it was right after the game. He's still on the court, right? Getting the interview at the end, and they just won, right? They just got the 1 seed. Or overtook the Thunder. I think they were tied when they had the 1 seed. They win on the road, and Anthony Edwards does not care about that one bit. Right off the bat, just starts talking about the refs. And, like I said, no other league, this really happens. But I guess a little bit sometimes in football, but not to the point where Anthony Edwards, he knew. He was like, yeah, I'm going to get fined. He's like, I have to bring this up. And it's crazy because I feel like we know the NBA is notorious for stars complaining about calls. I get it. I understand it. But it feels like it's happening more and more so this year than any other year where, we've known it before, but it hasn't been this out there before where we have just every night, it feels like another instance of what was the ref thinking here and players getting visibly upset. I got to give Anthony Edwards a little credit for it, right? I mean, that's not an easy thing to do sometimes, especially when you're on the winning side, but he didn't hold back. And to have, one of the many faces of the league right now not hold back, definitely got to put the refs in a tough spot too, right? They're not putting up with their bullshit anymore. Who knows how much longer it's going to take?
Yeah, it's I wanted to lump this in with the Anthony Edwards stuff too. Jake, I don't know if you saw it, but Max Strus got one of the most egregious texts I've ever seen the other night. He literally just handed the basketball back to the referee. Like he did it like fast paced, and maybe she wasn't expecting it. But to get teed up for handing the basketball to a referee, I mean,
it was baffling. It's baffling.
I saw the clip after I had already put this Anthony Edwards stuff in the doc, and I was like, we need to bring this up. Give some justice to Max Strus as well. It's just I don't know, like those, you miss a call and you maybe don't want to go back on what you initially said. I can sometimes understand that if you're a referee, but like giving out text for this type of stuff is almost worse than missing a phantom call at the end of a game. It's like you're just blowing your whistle to blow your whistle at that point, and then it ultimately hurts, the Cavaliers in this case, but whatever player or superstar it is that you're just handing out these technical fouls to just because you want to. So war on the refs continues. Well,
I don't expect it to get better. That's the thing. It's like, is it going to get better this season? Maybe next season they'll have points of emphasis that they should change. But this season, no way. It's no way. And I'm worried about the Olympics, honestly, even for Team USA going over there. And you're worried about the Curry thing that Russillo brought up is such a great point. And I saw so many comments under it that were like, this is why we get worked in FIBA now. And it's true, because if you're expecting to go to the line because you run into someone who's kind of sideways and you make contact with them, that's never going to happen in a real the NBA is the only league that shit can happen. Mm-hmm. It is crazy to see. It's still jarring to me to see those kinds of calls happen in real time in the league. When you're like, what are you supposed to do when you're moving your feet? You're with the guy, you're stride for stride. You're not reaching for him. You're not initiating any contact of any sort, and he just bumps into you, gets a shot off, and you're in the wrong spot. You're supposed to get out of the way? It just doesn't. Right. It doesn't make sense, bro. What are you supposed to do?
I mean, it literally will look like they're lower their shoulder and go for it. It's like, that's an and one. It's like, I don't really know about that.
Yeah. If people want to complain.
Inconsistency too, right? That's the big thing in the NBA. It's the inconsistency too. I mean, how many times? We've watched a decent amount of games this year. How many times have we seen someone go up for a contact layup, and they were clearly contacted, right? You could tell they fall on the floor. Defender hits them, no call, and then it comes down the other way, and it's just like a slight bump, and it's an and one. And the big thing too, and this is where I really get frustrated with the refs, and it happened in the Thunder Timberwolves game. Late whistles. Mm-hmm. The late whistles is what drives NBA fans and the players insane, because it's almost like they're like, it was contact. I don't know if it was enough. Oh, it was on. Oh, so-and-so, blow the whistle. What are we doing?
And yes, Steve, you brought up consistency. Sometimes it's the opposite, though, where it's negative, or it's consistency that has a negative impact. So the Anthony Edwards play that happened the other night, I was watching the Celtics last night, and JT, I forget who was going for the layup on the Pacers, but JT definitely hit their arm. It was more of a grade, but he hit their arm while they're going up, called it a foul on the floor. Boston still had their challenge, and they were about to lose it because it was towards the end of the game. So they were like, might as well just use it. They challenged it, and they ended up winning. And even me, I'll be Mr. Bias anytime I can if it's for the Celtics. Tatum fouled them. It was a foul, but I feel like because just a few nights before the Anthony Edwards thing happened and there was marginal contact that wasn't considered a foul, I feel like that was the same thing that happened here. And they were like, okay, well, we have to stay consistent with what we just told the NBA world the other night. And then now you're ruining calls in a whole nother game where we should be addressing that you got a call wrong and then move forward and make the correct calls as you move forward. And it just doesn't even seem like we have that, which is just like a normal human response. You make a mistake and then you fix it the next time you come back to it. It doesn't even seem like we're getting that from the referees. So, 40,000 is nothing to Anthony Edwards, but I don't blame him for getting that off his chest. And Maybe it was just because of the cussing that he got fined, but I think he would have got fined regardless. So I don't know. I think that to a certain degree, if a call is that egregious, they should be able to speak their mind.
He would have had to have gotten fined because he said, "I'm going to get fined for this." If they don't fine him after that, he was asking to get fined at that point.
They were doing him a favor, yeah. But yeah,
maybe it would have been 50 if he didn't say that before. Maybe they were like, all right, we'll give you
all right, he's being nice at least. Yeah, but the war on refs continue. I'm sure we'll be back here next week with a similar story. Something cool that we have in the news here: Steph and Sabrina at the All-Star Weekend. We have the first ever WNBA player versus an NBA player, and I mean, we haven't heard, much about the details, right? I think Sabrina shooting from the WNBA line. So, Steph from three.
That was original, right? Sabrina was going to use the WNBA ball from the WNBA line, Curry NBA ball from the NBA line. And then, of course, because we're in the keyboard warrior era, everyone was just ripping on Sabrina the whole time. Half these people, not even half. I'm not even going to give them that credit. 90% of these people probably never even watched when Sabrina had 37 points, the all-time record in the 3-point contest last year, where she made two misses. I think two misses the entire run, hit her money balls. And I believe she had like an Instagram story or whatnot, with the announcement. She said, I'll shoot from the men's line. So we'll see. We'll see if she shoots from the WNBA or the men's line. But I love that she said that. But I think this is really cool. I really do. You guys know I've always loved the WNBA. I've always loved watching the Aces play. And like I said, in the summer, once the NBA is over, like you can watch some quality basketball games. And I think this is really cool to just help, grow awareness for the sport, because Sabrina Ionescu is probably one of the biggest stars in the WNBA. She's also, how do you grow a sport? How do you gain interest? You need your stars to have a personality. And that's exactly what she has. And I think this will be really cool, because we love Steph Curry because, he could be the good guy, but he can also feel like the villain, right? Everyone loves Steph Curry until you play against him type of deal. Yeah. And that's kind of how Sabrina Ionescu goes. And that's kind of, going to, in the college basketball realm, what Caitlin Clark is for Iowa is everyone loves them, but they got that little bit of shit talking in them. They got that little bit of the villain side. And so I think it's going to be very cool, how they set it up. If, Sabrina and Steph can kind of go back and forth with a little bit of trash talk here. They're both very, very likable players. And, not for nothing, we call Steph Curry like the greatest shooter of all time. Sabrina Ionescu is one of the greatest WNBA shooters we've ever seen. And like we said, she has the all-time record in the 3-point contest. She missed 2 shots. She hit both her money balls too. So everyone's saying, I could make 37 points from that line. She hit the 2 money balls too. So shut up. Enjoy it. It's going to be awesome. I think it's going to help, grow the women's game. And I think they got to do more of these going forward too, right? Because I said it at the end of the day. If you're a true basketball fan, you're going to like watching basketball, regardless of who's playing, regardless of what level it is. If it's competitive basketball and you are a true basketball fan, you're going to enjoy it. And it's just about, spreading awareness for these other leagues besides just the NBA. I think this is a great step in the right direction. And I think they picked kind of the perfect person for it, right? Because like I said, she's got a personality. Everyone knows Sabrina Ionescu. She's already a star. I think it'll be very, very cool.
Yeah, I think it'll be sweet as well. I kind of love that what we got from this is not the keyboard warriors you were talking about, Steve, but the people in the replies who were saying, okay, but now give us Brittany versus Boogie, because we still have.
I know. Yeah, we need that.
I did see that.
Oh my god! When I saw the first comment about Brittany Griner versus Boogie Cousins, it just brought me back to that, dude. And I agree we need more stuff like that, but I still don't think that Brittany Griner actually wants that one-on-one to happen.
No. Not at all.
But no, this will be great, man. I think it's a good boost for the All-Star weekend. It's something different. I think people, at the very least, are always looking for something different, a way the NBA is switching it up, and this is a great way to do that. And like you said, Steve, it's definitely going to be a positive for the women's game. I can't imagine that it's not.
And that's what I hope the NBA fans take it as, right? It's like no one here is saying Sabrina Ionescu is a better player than Steph Curry. No one's saying that she's a better shooter than Steph Curry. It's just a fun, like, friendly competition. And like I said too, like I'll any opportunity I get to talk about Kelsey Plum, I will. But Kelsey Plum, when she went on a podcast, she was talking about how, like, she's like, pretty much anyone in the NBA is going to beat us one-on-one. That's just how it works. They're just physically bigger and stronger. She's like, I don't want you to think that I can, beat someone in the NBA. She's like, the bench players could beat us. She's like, I just want you to respect our game, respect everything we're doing. And I think that's exactly what I want this stuff to do, that correlates with this 3-point contest. I don't need anyone here to be like, oh, Sabrina Ionescu is a better shooter than Steph Curry. But I don't want people to just, discredit her. Like, she's going to go out there. She's going to drain a lot of shots. And that's that's kind of what, these stars in the WNBA, these stars in women's college basketball, which has been as big as it's really ever been, really truly want, is they just want the respect of their game, right? They don't need you to be like, you can't make it to the NBA or this and that or so and so. You can't compete with that. They just want you to respect their game and respect that they can ball too. Like that there's a lot of very, very talented players. Sabrina Ionescu, one of the most talented. So I think this is very, very cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. You said it great, Steve. I can't wait to see just the integration with everything, and just like let's make these women bigger stars and put them on the platform along with the men whenever we can, because they deserve it. So yeah, it's gonna be a blast. But I would love. We need to set this up. Somebody needs to set up the guys that think they can come in and hit 37 points from 20 feet. 20 feet. You think
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
There's no way, bro.
Two misses. She had 2 misses. Neither were on the money ball. One of her first misses was the first shot. Missed the first shot.
Yeah. I mean, no way that a normal human being is doing that.
I would just love, like, just some random, hater in the comments, bring them in and be like, all right, you get to 1v1 this WNBA star. Just watch him get cooked.
Oh, that's like
just watch him get cooked.
Brian Scalabrine did this a few years ago. He just he let the haters in his comments say what they want to say. Then he's like, all right, meet me at this gym. And he just died, like 40-something-year-old Brian Scalabrine, just still like one of the worst. When he was in the league, he wasn't up there as far as skill level goes. He was probably one of the lower guys in the league, but that doesn't mean he won't beat the people that are in the social media comments, and that goes for people that think they could outshoot Sabrina as well. Also, just noticed, Jake, you got the right attire for this conversation.
Oh yeah, he does.
WNBA hoodie. I love that.
But that's the thing, like I say too, Donnie, right? At the end of the day, like, if you're going to go a professional in any sport, you have to dominate every single level before that. You have to dominate. This is my favorite thing to do is I find like a random ass bench player in the NBA and I just look up their high school tape. And I'm like, you watch any of their high school tape, you're like, this guy's going to be the greatest player of all time. And it's like, you have to dominate every level. So all these keyboard warriors, all these haters want to hate. It's like, nah, there's a reason they're professionals, because they are dominating every level.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say on that.
Yeah, no, it should be fun, man. Something else that's fun is speculating about LeBron James tweets. Actually, I'm actually realizing this just now that this could have been in relation to his announcement today. I don't think it was, but LeBron James tweeted.
I think the announcement came after, because the tweet went out, and then they're like, we should probably.
They're like, announce it now. Announce it now. We can still correlate these. Yeah, so if you guys didn't see it, LeBron James just tweeted the hourglass emoji late last night.
Time out, not time left.
Yes, time running out. So whatever you want the speculations to be, whether he's fed up with D'Lo or the Darvin Ham in general, or the lineups that Darvin Ham's supposed to put out, or Christian Wood because he's been vocal lately. It's a tale as old as time trying to interpret what LeBron James thinks about his current team. And we have here that Wendy reports he would not be surprised if LeBron isn't a Laker next year. I think Wendy has reported that the last 3 years.
Yeah.
If my memory serves me correct. And the only thing I'll say about that is, yeah, would you not be surprised if LeBron's a Laker next year? I guess I wouldn't either. But at the same time, what has happened in the last 2 seasons when LeBron is either looked frustrated or has spoken about his frustration? The Lakers go out and
Yeah, they just make him happy.
Deadline. Yeah,
they just make him happy. Hey, Lakers, you want to know a life hack to get LeBron to stay in your team? Draft Bronny. I don't care where it is. You draft Bronny, LeBron's staying on the Lakers. All right.
Yeah.
But no, it's just crazy, and I think it's just more just trying to get attention. Obviously, LeBron, like we know these athletes at this point, they love the cryptic tweets as much as we do. They love this stuff, but it's like. LeBron, like until LeBron's not a Laker, LeBron's a Laker for me. I got like these rumors. Okay, yeah, like you're rumoring one of the greatest players of all time. Is unhappy in this situation because they're not winning. Shocker. End of career. Yeah. End of career. Lakers are struggling a little bit. End of LeBron's career, and he's still putting up numbers that I didn't think were possible. Like some of the numbers, the game he had against the Warriors in double OT to win that game. I mean,
my God, man!
Like this stuff's not making sense anymore. What he's doing at this age. So it's like any chance anyone gets a chance to talk about LeBron and be like, oh, there's rumors here and there. They will. They absolutely will.
I was watching that Lakers Warriors game at the bar.
Insane.
And I was getting tired. And here's LeBron, 38 years old, playing 40-plus minutes, and he wasn't even tired to finish the game. Man.
LeBron and Curry playing like it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals. I could not believe it was one of the best regular season basketball games I've watched in a while.
Oh yeah,
a long
and
time.
Curry afterwards going up like, how do we keep pulling these off? Like, LeBron,
they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
It is the classic LeBron angry at his team kind of playbook, right? The cryptic tweet. Yeah. He was about to lose it and cut himself off, or was cut off by a media member in the thing last night. He was about to go off either.
And he thanked them for cutting
or the players. Yeah. And it feels more directed at Darvin Ham. There's also a video today that's circulating around of LeBron rolling his eyes at a play getting written up by Darvin. And the thing is that he doesn't have the sway that he used to have. Like the Lakers are the Lakers. Like Jeannie Buss is she's been very adamant that she's not going to let LeBron just like dictate everything they're doing, even though he's gotten a lot of leeway and gotten to choose a lot of things. Like they've put lines in the sands multiple times with LeBron, and he can't opt out of his deal this year. And so when you're looking at it, like that's the only thing that's interesting is now that he's actually coming up on a free agent year, and we've seen him leave and bolt for places afterwards. Or if he's just really tired of this situation, what if LeBron asked for a trade 2 weeks before the deadline? Like, what if he was like, send me to the Knicks, or send me to Miami, or wherever, or Philly, like whatever, like any of these contending teams that could.
If he gets sent back to the East at the deadline, I'll be so fucking pissed.
What if the Cavs bring him home, bro?
You have no idea, bro. Especially if it was Miami, bro. Oh my God. I'd build myself a bunker, dude, and just watch the games down there.
But all the arguments about him being older and being frustrated and everything else, it also makes me think, like, if he doesn't think this is a situation where even if they trade for DeJounte Murray, are they winning the West, bro? No. I don't think so.
Do you think Zach LaVine moves the needle for the Lakers?
No, I don't think so. No. And do the Lakers want to spend more picks if they think LeBron's leaving after this year?
Well, they might have no choice, right? If LeBron's like, you got to get so-and-so if you want me to stay. Like, at that point, they're like, yeah. The picks are expendable at that point.
Or you try to tell him, like, hey, if
we
can get you out of here.
That'll work.
The thing is, he has to make the decision that I think he has a no trade no matter what. I don't know if he does. Actually, I don't know if he actually has a no movement on this deal.
I would hope he does. Imagine they traded with the Wizards. Like, screw you.
All right, thanks for everything. Have fun in Washington.
Not with you. LeBron, you are a Piston.
Hey, this guy Monty Williams said he really wanted to coach you.
Oh, no.
But yeah, so take LeBron's tweet how you want it. I'm sure he'll get asked about it in his next post-game presser, and he'll have an elaborate reasoning of why he tweeted it. If he was smart, he would use the DraftKings thing as an excuse. But
LeBron currently has.
We'll never know until we know.
LeBron currently does not have a no trade clause, but there is a 15% trade kicker. So the Lakers would be de-incentivized, or no, that would be trade kicker goes to the other team.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But like that he doesn't need a no move because who's trading Like,
right.
who's going to trade that
Right.
LeBron James, and who's trading for LeBron if he's not going to show up? Like if LeBron got traded to the Pistons, he's not going to Detroit.
No.
He's just going to
He's pulling the Gronk. He's pulling the Gronk fake return. He's like, all right, that's all it is.
Yeah, you can't trade me. I'm retired.
You can't trade me. I'm retired. One of the greatest.
That was also Detroit. They thought they tried to trade Gronk to the Lions. And he was like, you can't trade me. I'm retired. And he's like, 2 weeks later, I was back on the Patriots.
All-time moment from Gronk. Yeah, absolutely.
And I wouldn't blame him at all. If you tried to send me to Detroit, I'd do the same thing. I'd say I'm retiring and I don't even play a sport. All right, yeah, so we'll see on LeBron. I'm sure it'll come out at some point what that was about. The draft, the NBA draft, it was announced today. There'll be 2 days now for the NBA draft. My only thought on this is just another way to try to compete with the NFL.
I guess.
That's the only thing that I could think of, because it never really seemed that crammed before.
No,
I don't think
it's 2 rounds. It shouldn't be crammed. It's 2 rounds. I mean, we came a long way from Jokic getting drafted during a Taco Bell commercial, right?
Yeah.
But like it's 2 rounds, and like if they do it in a way where maybe they shine a little more light on, the second round guys, maybe dive more in depth to them, because, a lot of NBA fans only kind of know the top, 15, 20 prospects. I think that would be cool, but
that's a good point. There's
no need for it. I think it's cool if they really dive into these prospects, right? Because there's nowadays, right, in the NBA, I got to think of it this way. There's a ton of guys who are playing overseas. There's a ton of guys playing in the G Leagues, right? And if you look at the round 2 guys, you will see that, but you will also see, too, there's a lot of guys at smaller college basketball schools. And I know I watch as much college basketball as anyone, and a lot of these guys, I kind of know, but a perfect example is Jalen Williams for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
He came out of Santa Clara. Not many guys are watching him play college basketball. And then, about a month into his rookie season, we're like, this is one of the best rookies in the class. And it's like, how did I not? And if you go back and watch those Santa Clara highlights, or, look into what he was doing, you could see that this was the type of guy who's going to emerge like this. And I know he was a higher pick. But my point being is that I think nowadays there's just so many unknown, players in draft classes because of overseas, because of playing in other leagues, and like I said, because of, smaller colleges, that not everyone really notices them. And it's kind of different than previous years in NBA draft classes. So if the second day is to maybe shine a little more light on it, I like it. But if it's just kind of a short rinse and repeat, I'm not here for it.
I think that's a great point. I didn't think about spotlighting the play, and they should have more time to spotlight everybody. They should, they should change the coverage. My first thought was they're going to add a 3rd round at some point, because now they have the G League Ignite teams and everything that are tied in, and to get more players under team control right away, and because there is like you said, there's such an influx of international guys and all the college guys coming in, like more opportunities, more players that can say they got drafted. All that is good stuff for the league and everything else. Secondly, this is for trade season, I think, more than anything, because now instead of the draft all being one night, and we think about all these trades going into draft night and all the possibilities, that's a lot of work going on if you're trying to work the phones for 2 nights and try to do it. So you do one night, you talk about some deals, you're on the phones with the GMs all night, you get a night to sit on it, go a whole next day to then go into day 2. I think that's what they're thinking about, is for their more big time trades, or not even big time trades, smaller time trades too, but just because it's allowing the GMs
in general.
Exactly. Because the GMs are all together and they're all going to be in the same spot, that you will allow to have that kind of movement. And that's what the NBA wants going into free agency, is the trade rumor machine tilted as high as it can go. So that was my thinking, was it's going to allow more trades, because there's just going to be, like, NHL draft has a lot of day 2 trades, like right off the bat, where a bunch of things get made. So,
and I think it's probably a combination of what both you guys said, because honestly, during this conversation, my brain just keeps going back to something that Brad Stevens said in the summer. He basically just kind of told the reporter that, look, 2nd round picks are more valuable than they ever have been. And that's kind of what Brad had done on the last, 2 or 3 trades. I think he brought in guys that he wanted to bring in, but also accumulated 2nd round picks. And he's like, we're going to put these to use at some point, whether it's, piling these 2nd rounders up to trade up, or like Steve said, there's guys that are just talented as hell now in the second round because that's how good this league is. And that's just how good the talent is across the entire NBA. There's guys coming out of college that get overlooked because the talent levels are so saturated. And then you have this gem in the second round. So,
and the players overseas, there's so much overseas talent now.
Just people that we don't even see at all, not even overlook. It's, guys coming from Europe as well. And so I think that in turn makes the second round pick more valuable. And then at the same time, it makes the draft, more of a thing to watch. So if they want to make 2 days out of it, I've no issues with it. I think it's kind of random to announce it now, but I'm with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch it.
I'll tune in.
I'll be watching.
It's going to be the off season. I'm going to want something NBA related to watch. They got me. They got me.
I will have the NBA draft on the big screen and like Cubs Brewers on the small screen with some 5-inning bets or something like
an ideal summer night right there.
Exactly.
All right, should we get into the superstars that just
what happened?
Went crazy on Friday night? Yeah, Steve, why don't you start with Luka? You have the floor. 73 points, fourth most in NBA history.
Yeah, I mean, Embiid got 70, so Luka's like, here, hold my beer. I'm going to get 73. And it's crazy, like, that we've seen these in, the span of 2-3 weeks, these scoring outbursts, because obviously Devin Booker had 62. But what was funny is you guys, I believe we're in the group chat, you were like, guys, Booker's cooking right now. He's cooking in the first quarter. I think he had 29 points or something in the first quarter. It's ridiculous. And I'm watching the Mavs game, as I normally do, and at that point, Luka was still, I think, at 17 points. I was like, oh, he's playing kind of well. I'm like, oh, Luka's he's still playing pretty good. It felt like one of those nights, right? His first couple threes just went in pure. I was like, it felt like one of those nights. And I don't know what the Atlanta Hawks were thinking, right? And they just didn't adjust. They tried every different option on defense to guard him, but they refused to double the guy. And it's like when a guy's in his bag like that, what are you thinking? They didn't double him until probably 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. But regardless, it was one of the greatest offensive performances I've ever seen. He had 73 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 25 of 33 from the floor. 25 of 33 from the floor. He hit 8 threes. I believe it was 8 of 13 from downtown. I mean, it was just anything and everything he was making. It was an absolute joy to watch, especially because it was in Atlanta. And it was, one of those where everyone's like, oh, this was a trade that worked out for both sides. When Atlanta did the Trae Young-Luka swap, for him to do that in Atlanta was just fantastic. I mean, they were stubborn too. Like I said, they were just trying to guard him one-on-one. They were switching who was matched up on him defensively, but it did not matter. It was an absolute blast to watch as a fan. It was an absolute, blast to watch as a Luka stan. And it was just one of those, games where I think he was at 40. I want to say 41 points at halftime. I can't remember the exact number. I want to say it was 41. But it was one of those games where I watched it from start to finish and probably, his third or fourth basket. I'm like, he's going to do something tonight. Like, I know everyone was going off about Booker, and I was like, he's going to do something tonight. I did not think he'd get to 73 points, right? Yeah. But, incredible. Oh, man, dude. And it's just crazy now, right, how offensively talented these guys are. And I know there's people complaining about how teams play defense now and that no one's really trying. And I will give you the counter argument that I just think that these players have gotten so offensively, talented and gifted with all these different, tricks they have in their bag that what can you do to play defense at some point? I mean, there were Luka, for the most part, wasn't doubled too much that game, but there were times where he would still make it, where there'd be 2 guys on him. It'd just be the turnaround fader, and he made it. I mean, you watch Luka's 3-pointers. He never has a catch-and-shoot wide-open 3-pointer. All his 3-pointers are that slow, your little step-back fade, guy in your face, and makes it anyways. And when he makes the first couple, you're like, all right, he just has it tonight. And that's what I say. And I'll bring up Embiid's 70-point performance as well. Embiid is just gifted offensively. You watch the way he scored in that game, is scoring every which way. These guys just know how to score, and there's just so many different options they have. When a guy starts cooking like that, what do you do to stop him? And there will be people complaining about the defense in this league, but let's not act like Wilt Chamberlain has half of the most points scored in NBA history.
Allegedly.
Right? Allegedly, yeah, right. No one saw his 100-point game, right? Luka third all time, maybe. I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying that it's crazy that, you know, we are in a league now where there's so much talent across the board and these guys are still putting up these types of numbers because everyone's getting stronger and bigger, but the defense just has no answers. I mean, you've done it. What the Celtics have last night, 80 points at halftime. I mean, when a team just gets cooking and everyone now in the NBA, if you're going to play good minutes in the NBA, you got to shoot from anywhere on the floor. And there is maybe 3 or 4 examples of guys that just can't really shoot or kind of a liability offensively that play significant minutes. That's no longer like that's the case now. Everyone has to. Luka's 6'7". He's a 6'7" guard. We forget about that, right?
Yeah.
Talking about Magic Johnson, who was 6'9", is one of the bigger, you know, point guards ever. He's 6'7". The dude's strong. Like, people forget these things. It's just physically gifted.
It was interesting. I was reading Donovan Mitchell had a one-on-one today in The Athletic. And one of the things he mentioned is they were asking about, like, oh man, like you've become a better facilitator. You're averaging more passes this year. You've got your biggest assist games and everything. And he's like, listen, I don't think that I think there's not really many pure point guards left in the league. He's like, there's Chris Paul. He's like, Halliburton, I guess, kind of sounds as that. He's like, but everybody's just a scoring guard. And that's the thing with Luka. Like, Luka, obviously, he can dish. He can make great plays passing the ball. But he's a scoring guard. Like, that's what he is first. And his passing and playmaking comes off of that scoring ability because he's he's in a triple threat scoring position almost every time he touches the ball. And you have to account for everything. I will say the one thing, my old man on the cloud thing that I will go, it's not about defense. No one's going to play defense in 82. If you want actual defense, make it 60 games and people will play defense because it's just the wear and tear. They need to get rid of the corner 3, bro. I'm so they need that line to go into the corner because that shot is too easy. It's too easy for college kids. Like, I'm like, even watching college games, like, they're just kids that just stand there the whole game and it's just a layup for, like, those kids are sitting there in practice all day just shooting that shot and getting good at it because eventually it's a layup. And I think that would open up the game so much more in a way that, like, allows defenses to kind of defend easier because that shot's a cheat code. And to have to try to defend it is damn near impossible. All you got to do, just put that line right into the end of the corner. You can't stand in. There will be a spot like that you're almost in the corner that you'll be able to stand by. But I feel like that's like the only, like, I don't want to hear about defense or anything else, whatever. But with the way the 3-point I don't think they need to move it back. I don't think that helps anything because people are just going to get deeper range. Yeah, I think you need to change up like how it is approached, and that would do more for that kind of conversation anyways. But these guys are more skilled than we've ever seen before. Like, Dunny, there was a video of the kid at the Celtics game that was chucking the threes. Like, yes. Do you remember how hard it was to shoot a 3-point shot when you were like 8 years old? I never thought about going back,
especially at the TD Garden, man.
The TD Garden at an NBA line too, like not a high school line, not at your park. Like,
he shot that shit with confidence, bro, and then like did a little walk doing now. Afterwards.
That's the thing is like that's how the game
Steph Curry.
It's 100%.
Steph Curry. Like, I'm not joking either. Like, everyone wants to shoot the 3 because of Steph Curry.
Yeah, 100%. So it's like it's I don't think it's a bad thing, man. But we just you gotta, like, the game's gotta catch up to it too because there is it's you gotta have like ebbs and flows with it. But that's what it is. Like, the guys are just more like, we just have better shooters. There's a generation that are just all better shooters than there were in the past because there's so much more of an emphasis on shooting deep and shooting the ball and
shooting quick.
Steve, quick, and everybody having that ability, like you were saying, Steve. Like, you can't be on a basketball court on the NBA unless you're 7 feet tall or you can shoot from deep. Like, otherwise, you're gonna have a really hard time making it in this league now.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's like these teams are so offensively gifted, and obviously, like, because of Steph Curry and the Warriors kind of proving too, right? It's like, oh, you know what? We'll just shoot 43s a game and see what happens. We'll just shoot 40 plus times from outside the arc and see what happens. And that's what's happening in these games because these guys are all talented, right? I said this earlier in the show. When you're a professional, you have to dominate every single level of basketball until you get to the professional level. So it's very easy for a team to tell when the guy makes his first 2 shots, oh, he's locked in. Let's give him the ball, right? And these NBA teams, they're playing 5-out offensive strategies now. I mean, Dunny, you know it with the Celtics as good as anyone. When they just start passing the ball, there's 5 of them standing outside the arc. It's just all right. Who's going to take the open 3 this time? It's crazy.
Yeah, it certainly seems like this is the way the league's going. Honestly, it's fun just like going into every night now, like anticipating, all right, who's gonna get the 50 ball tonight? Who's gonna get the 60 ball tonight? Luka obviously took the cake more recently. I mean, that's just incredible. And obviously, you know, we're lumping them both into this conversation. Booker obviously had a huge night too, 62 points. Obviously, we know he's done the 70 himself before. You know, when we have these moments, all I can say is just like the league's in good hands. And, you know, it's a cliche, but it could not be more true right now. I did want to bring this up when I mentioned Booker because I saw this. Legion Hoops tweeted as we're recording right now. This is an insane but true stat. Tonight, the Suns' big 3 will have played in more games together than the Nets' big 3 ever did.
Wow.
So Booker, KD, and Beal tonight will play more games than Harden, KD, and Kyrie ever played together, which is just absolutely outrageous. Yeah, man, shout out scoring the basketball, and I'm excited to see who the next 60-point game is because I
Give me a prediction. Give me a prediction right now. Who do you think's scoring?
Donovan Mitchell tonight against the Pistons. That's pretty good.
It's possible. I would love to say JT, but the Celtics offense is, you know, it would have to be a night where like JB and Porzingis miss, or, you know, at least 2 of the starters are out. I think it might be Giannis.
I'm going Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards. The manager just talked about the refs and got fined. We saw it before. The T-Wolves would feed a guy when he was hot.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Ant-Man has a big game in him soon.
I like that. Someone we didn't mention who could easily be thrusted into this conversation as well, and we said we were going to get back to him, guys. Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks. We'll end the show with this topic here because they are the hottest team in the NBA. Yeah. 8 straight wins. We talked about it at the top. It's Jalen Brunson. It's without Randall last night. It's DiVincenzo stepping up. Josh Hart had a triple-double the other night.
First career triple-double.
Yeah. It's just like this team is just, I don't know if it's just the right pieces or the vibes or everything all at once. The New York Knicks are special right now. They brought Taj Gibson back on a 10-day. The New York Knicks fans were chanting, "We want Taj" last night at the end of the game. It's just like nothing can go wrong in Madison Square Garden. Nothing can go wrong for the Knicks at the moment. And honestly, I'm happy for them.
They found their identity, man. Like I said, people did not realize how they gave up a lot. RJ Barrett and Emmanuel quickly to get OG Anunoby. They gave up quite a bit, right? People didn't realize it. It changed their identity. Their defense, I believe, was like 24th or something in rating before the Anunoby trade, and since the Anunoby trade, first in defensive rating. Their record since the Anunoby trade, first since the trade. I believe the plus minus, I think they are first in as well since the OG Anunoby trade. I mean, it's crazy, but he gave them that identity, right? And now it's not like you're kind of like worried of who's going to step in an offense, who are we going to play. The Knicks have their guys they know. It's Brunson is 1, Randall is 2, and then it's everyone else kind of fills in, and they just have that identity now. They're back to those defensive New York Knicks styles, and also too, like, I know other guys have been stepping up, but I think we still have to give Jalen Brunson his flowers, man. I mean, first off, it's and we can dive into this some other day, but it is a disgrace that Damian Lillard is an all-star starter.
Makes literally no sense.
It makes no sense. Terry Rozier was having better numbers than Damian Lillard this year, and they gave Damian Lillard. And I have nothing against Dame, but an all-star starter over what Brunson's doing. Second, too, I mean, this is like I didn't think Brunson was going to step up the way he did, right, when he was traded when he went to the Knicks after the Mavs. I was like, yeah, Brunson's been good on the Mavs. I don't think he can be the guy consistently. Hand up, I was wrong. I mean, this is we're talking about one of the best point guards in the NBA. This is a guy, like, if you haven't watched a lot of Knicks games or something this year, just watch. Just watch Jalen Brunson, what he can do. Because he's one of the few undersized point guards in the league right now, and that he plays like he's 6'8". He really does. He plays like he's 6'8", and it's incredible what he can do. Obviously, having Brunson and Hart with that college connection, and DiVincenzo too, I guess.
DiVincenzo,
yeah. You have that, college connection. I mean, it looks like they love playing together. It looks like they're having fun, and it's it's incredible to watch this team because, like I said, OG Anunoby just does the things that you don't really notice in the box score. He's still putting up good numbers right now. I think 15, like 4-4 in his 14 games with the Knicks, but it's those little things that just help everyone around him. I hope Randall can come back soon from his injury because I'm telling you guys right now, the question is, are the Knicks a true contender? I think so. I really do. I think they're going to be a tough out against anyone they face, and man, dude, I honestly want to put him as the second most dangerous team in the East right now after the Celtics. I really want to put him over the Milwaukee Bucks. I think Giannis is the only thing that's holding me back because I've watched him single-handedly win playoff series, and obviously now having Damian Lillard, who's one of the most clutch shooters in NBA history. But man, that's right. All you're missing is Sadiq Bey. Yeah. That would be a great little addition.
They could bring him in at the deadline. He's on the block. He has been the last couple of years. Steve, I don't think that's that crazy of a statement to say they're the second most dangerous because, we've seen other teams, every season, right? Teams have win streaks. They go on runs like this. This seems different. Like they have the wins that are stacking up, but like they have the swagger at the same time. They playing smash mouth basketball. Brunson is walking on water, it seems like, every single night. And if you're just looking at the stats, go watch a Knicks game. Go watch Jalen Brunson and how he's putting up these stat lines. He's bullying other point guards that have like 3 inches on him, backing them down in the post. He literally reminds me of 2016 Isaiah Thomas, but like on steroids. It's just like he like defies the odds when he's out there. I mean, we talked about it. It's a bummer for the Knicks that Randall's out for a few weeks. I don't know if that matters right now.
I think
they're that good, and OG Anunoby, what Tibbs is able to do with OG on the defensive end. I mean, he must be in heaven. Just the different sets and different looks he can give other teams.
He's just shutting down anyone they're putting up against him right now. I mean, like you take anyone's best player go up against OG Anunoby. Look what they've done. Look at what stars have done against the Knicks lately. It's crazy.
And honestly, I'll say this because I was unfair I think Knicks fans were unfair to the team last year. What they were doing to the Randall posters and stuff. I hope either those fans left when they did that and aren't Knicks fans anymore, or have changed their tune because, that's what sports fandom is like in a way. But they better be happy with what they got now because less than a year ago, you guys were ready to burn down this whole franchise. And now you have one of the better teams in the NBA. So I can't say enough good things about the Knicks right now. It's scaring me how much good things I'm saying about the Knicks, but
I will say I agree with everything you guys said. I do think that I'd put them ahead of the Bucks. The Bucks are not going to haven't proved they can play defense yet, and now Doc Rivers is their coach. So as a playoff team, little worried about the Bucks. Can't trust the Cavs over the Knicks after we saw them get bullied by them just a year ago. Philly, we talked about them earlier. Don't know what the Embiid situation is. Julius Randle still has to show up in a playoff series for them to be a true contender. And that's the thing we're waiting on. Like, and maybe this will be the year, but he's done this so often now but the thing is, everything you said about Brunson is, I mean, I never thought Brunson would turn into like prime James Harden. Like that's what he like it's crazy. And he's incredible to watch. He's like, I've watched way more Knicks basketball this year than I ever would have thought going into the season, but they've been one of my favorite teams to watch even before the Anunoby trade. Now, obviously, you guys know I'm locked in with OG there more, and they've been amazing to watch. And I would be a little bit scared, Dunny, if I were you. Not completely scared because it feels like the Celtics are going to run away with it compared to these East teams. But we had a question here, and I'm going to direct it to Steve. We talked about a couple guys last week. And when we were talking about the draft, but Black Duty 100. So what do you guys think the top 3 prospects are? And I know we talked about Cody Williams, who I think we'd have high on that list.
I don't know if he's in the top 3. It's tough to say because it's constantly
a lot
changing.
of international players too right now.
4 of the top 5.
Yeah.
4 of the top 5. Like I'm gonna pull up what the mock draft is right now because it changes every single day. Like I thought it was Buzelis last year. I thought he was gonna be like a surefire.
There's Topic. I know right? Topic, the point guard. If we have a Topic and a Jokic in the league, it's gonna get very confusing for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Right now, Alexandre Sarr is the potential number 1 pick. He's from France, so you know it's another big guy from France who has.
I was gonna say he's a 7-footer, right?
Yeah, he's 7'1". I think the top 4 or 5 guys are all pretty tall. You have another guy from France, Zachary Riscar. I can't pronounce his last name correctly, but he's projected 2 right now. You were talking about Nicola. He's projected 3.
Yep.
You got to go. We got G League Ignite, Ron Holland. You got to go to. I think Cody Williams is probably the first college basketball player right now that is projected up there, but it's kind of crazy. And then Buzelis has fallen to 7, which is crazy because he was, like I said, I thought he was going to be number 1 coming into the season. But what do all these guys have in common? Yeah. What do all these guys have in common? Length. These guys are all about 6'8" or taller, giant wingspans. Some a little more offensively gifted than others, but it's tough to say because I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I haven't watched a lot of the international players. I really haven't, because that's usually what I do when we get closer to the draft. More scout time for that. But right now, I've just been watching a little bit of college basketball. I love the Colorado because, like I said, they have 3 probably projected top 25 picks. Cody Williams being the big one. Kentucky's got a bunch of just stars.
Man. He is electric.
He's electric.
How about Zach? The fact that Zach Edey is going to be a lottery pick or near the lottery is insane. And I know that he might drop down when you get through the process and everything, but it is like you could see a team where they're just like, this is just a guy that's going to be a problem for teams to deal with like every night because he will be. He's not going to be like. I don't think he's going to be a superstar.
It's not going to be a world beater, but someone will take him though.
I think he'll be end of first round. Someone will be like, I'm going to take him. I really do. I don't think he'll get up to lottery. But I think someone will be like end of first round. I'm going to take Zach. It's with that guy, like the whole criticism of him, right, was he doesn't have offensive talent. And now he's starting to show it a little bit with Purdue. But it's also like, is it just because he's that much bigger than everyone, right? But he is moving a lot better than he has a couple of years ago. And I'm talking about not like movings and running up and down the court. I'm talking about just his like dribble moves and just how he's moving under the basket to, get open looks or make those contact layups. So we'll see, but it'll be interesting because, like I said, 4 of the top 5 guys are not in college basketball, and that's why it's just so different than.
I was going to say that goes back to our 2-day NBA draft conversation. It kind of ties it all together right there. It's everything we're talking about. There's guys from the G League. There's guys from overseas who we haven't even got a chance to see their game, but they're already projected to be in the lottery. It's just like this is how the world is going with basketball talent. The sport grows more and more every day, and then we end up in situations like this where it's just like oversaturation, but like in the best way possible.
I will say if you do like NBA prospects, 2 college teams you want to watch are Colorado and Kentucky. They each have 3 that are probably going in the first round, and it's a lot of fun to watch both those teams go at it because when they're at their peak, I think there was one game Kentucky I think they had like 70 points or something like 2 minutes into the second half. And
it's been a fun college basketball season. If you've been watching from start to finish, especially since conference play started, there's every night there is an electric game going on and great basketball going on. Like I've been having a lot of fun watching college basketball this year. Especially I'm going to the gym, you only got the certain options to put on. So if I'm missing like the first half of whatever NBA game I want to watch, it's like, like the other night, Duke, Virginia Tech watch. It's like, all right, I'll lock into this for a little bit. It wasn't as good of a game as you were hoping for, but hey, like there are games every night there that you can go out and find in the college basketball world if you're back into it. I feel like it's like we went through a little bit of a lull in college basketball from like national fan perspective, but now with NIL back, guys are staying for second years. Like with Duke, you got all the sophomores back there and everything. And that's all you really need is like you don't need everybody, the senior guys. But if you get sophomores and juniors coming back, it helps that interest in those teams and everything.
Agreed.
It's been a great start to the basketball season. I know you've been loving it, Steve, too.
Oh, yeah. And it's only going to get better. And like I said, eventually maybe we'll start talking a little bit about potential Final Four teams and the teams to look out for, especially prospects, too, because I'm glad the question was brought up. Because like I said, there's just so many names right now that, people probably don't recognize.
Yeah.
A ton of college basketball names. But these international players, like I said, it's been changing every single week. There's a new one as projected first pick. So
the Final Four is going to be tough to predict this year. It's if you're looking at like the projected seeds right now, I'm like that 4 seed could be the 1 seed in a month. Like the way that these teams are all playing each other and going down every week. A lot of solid teams right now.
I think everyone's sleeping on Kansas right now. Couple nice bigs. McCullough is the kind of that star who's emerged for him.
Dickinson getting more comfortable and everything.
Mm-hmm. I do think Kansas is a team people are kind of sleeping on. Is one of those. They'll probably be a 2 or 3 seed, but not like a chalk pick to win it all. Go to the Final Four.
Saturday afternoon, 4:00 Eastern.
Oh,
Houston
the slate this Saturday. The slate this Saturday
is
stupid good.
But that's the one right there. That you got Kansas and Houston. Houston's getting involved in that Big 12 play. Has been really fun to watch now. That's going to be the biggest test so far going into Allen Fieldhouse. Yeah, there's a lot of great action. Obviously, Duke USC Saturday night. I think Tennessee and Kentucky. I think there's somebody else too. I can't remember who it is. I can't remember who UConn's playing. They might be at Georgetown.
There's probably a Pac-12 game too. I'm guessing there's got to be one.
Yeah, a lot of ranked matchups Saturday. We're right in that thick of it, man. That's the time. If you've been missing football on Saturday or been watching football on Saturdays the whole time, just lock into ESPN and CBS for 12 hours on Saturday.
Noon to midnight, you'll be good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we love the hoops this time of year, man. It's crazy that we can. I love how we just went from talking about the Knicks to the Ignite to overseas guys to the slate of basketball on Saturdays, and
I am really hyped for Saturday. I've been looking forward to this Saturday for a while.
It's nice, man. If like you said, if you're still itching for that fix to sit on your couch and watch sports all day, you still have it, man. We're in the best time for basketball right now. So I think that'll do it for Happy Hour Hoops. Thank you guys for all tuning in. Remember to download the Win Streaks app. Use our code HHH for the referral code. It's 100% free to play. No deposits ever. Accumulate points. Win cash prizes, guys. It's super easy. Download the Win Streaks app, and thank you for listening to Happy Hour Hoops.
Got any picks? Either of you?
I did only college basketball today. I did only college basketball. I had a couple chalk picks. I want to make sure the 7 o'clocks haven't started yet. Okay, so 3 of my picks have started because they were at 7 o'clock. But I'll give the 2. I got Evansville at home against Illinois, Chicago.
Okay.
And then it's not a lot of points, but I like Kentucky at home against Florida. Like I said, you want to watch prospects too? Like the NBA, watch this Kentucky team. Because when they get going, oh boy, are they fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like the Rockets at home against the Pelicans. 45 points. Slight favorite there. Okay. But I'll take the 45, the good chunk there. That's what I'm looking at.
I like the Brooklyn Nets tonight against the Phoenix Suns. We just talked about the 2 big threes there. I like it. I like a little upset here. 62 points there.
Ooh, that's not bad.
Not bad.
Cam Thomas has been in his bag lately too. Oh,
I'm going to take the San Jose Sharks too.
No, bad idea.
Points.
Bad
idea. They're playing.
Bad idea.
No, listen. They're playing the Anaheim Ducks. Those are the 2 worst teams in hockey. So I'm just taking.
All I'm gonna say is this is why we're a basketball podcast. Sharks are probably gonna lose like 5-1. They're so bad.
They are so bad.
They're so bad.
It's a bad team, but I'm picking them. It's happening.
All right, that was our 30 seconds of hockey talk. Thank you all for listening. Later, guys.